Good morning. Another day in court faces me. I'll talk about that a little bit, but let's just say that the title for today's little chat with you is called Born in Debt and Enslaved by Ignorance. Bible students will know the verse, born in sin and shapen in iniquity. Well, my version isn't much different. It's just a modern way of saying it. As I watch people in court, one after another, waiving their rights, I cannot help but think how sad it is that people do not even realize the importance of our rights. No wonder tyrants have been able to maintain control for so long. As long as bankers rule the world and control the media, nearly all humans are born in debt and enslaved by ignorance. Our birthright is a terrible thing to waste. People do not realize, a lot of people do not realize that we are born with rights. It is called a birthright. We have the right to be free, to explore the world, to speak our mind, to go wherever we choose to go, freely, without interference by anyone else. And if someone wrongs us, we have the right to address the wrong and to obtain justice through due process of law as it has come down to us, well, sort of, from our forefathers, called common law. You know, if someone strikes you, Jesus said, turn the other cheek. But it means, but we need to address the issue, not just simply turn the other cheek, but to address the issue. Turn the other cheek can have more than one meaning. And it's not ignoring, because ignoring is dishonoring the other person. You address the issue. And we have been given rights. In our culture, in our modern culture, there are human rights that are recognized even by the states as corrupt as they are, even by the UN as corrupt as it is. And in the United States and in the Commonwealth nations, we have the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. We have a foundation of common law which, if applied, can bring justice. But we live in a world where we are born in debt, where we have had our very lives pledged as collateral to bankers who claim to own us, and going back even beyond that, to a false church called the Vatican that claims to own all the souls on the planet. And how did it do that? How did it make that claim? Well, it made that claim because nobody knew that they made it, probably, except for a handful of people. The common person didn't know because people were shapen in iniquity or enslaved by ignorance. We didn't know our rights. We forgot who we were. And so we came into this world being trained by parents who had also forgotten who they were, who were trained by parents before them who had forgotten who they were. And we forgot completely in this modern age that we were born to be free. And yet in 2012 there is a flame of freedom that has been reignited. A lot of it last year. It's been ignited in some people for a long time, but since last year it has been ignited on a more massive scale than ever before. Still, despite that fact, many people still are clueless. As I said, I watched in court on Tuesday, and one other time when I went with a friend whose daughter was being brought up on charges, I watched as individual after individual, when asked, do you waive your rights? They would say yes. Only an ignorant person that doesn't know any better would say such a thing. For living in this world, the rights is our most prized and important possession. Anyone that would give up their rights does not know who he or she is clueless as to why they're on this planet and to how they can individually make a difference by simply stepping into the truth. Now, when I went to court on Tuesday, I didn't know what an arraignment specifically was. I had been told that they railroad you through quickly, but for some reason, for whatever reason, I expected to be able to enter into a dialogue with the judge or with the court. That was not reality. It was just simply not reality. And I had come prepared to ask a whole bunch of questions because I was told a creditor asks questions and a debtor makes statements. A debtor argues. And I wasn't looking for an argument, at least I didn't think I was, but I realized that there's an error in that concept that I had been taught by Creditors in Commerce and other agencies that I had studied, because it wasn't a deposition, in a arraignment hearing, there isn't any dialogue. There's no room for it. It's not part of the system. It's not part of the routine. It's not part of the structure of how the court runs arraignments. As I said, there were about 25 people rushed through in less than an hour. It started around 9 o'clock, and I was home by 21 minutes after 10, and the reason I know that number specifically is because that's my birthday, 10/21. And I saw that on the clock, and I thought, wow, my birthday. But we stopped for gas on the way home, and it's a 20-minute ride just from the court to my house without stopping for gas. So I was out of there. I don't have a watch, so I didn't see the time then, but I was out of there before 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was the second to the last person to be called. So they railroaded all those people through really, really quickly. And I was not given more than just a couple minutes in front of the judge. So I did not accomplish my game plan. So Spirit yesterday and last night gave me a new game plan. In fact, as I was trying to sleep last night, Spirit had me get up like 4 times, I think, and write things down, because if I waited till morning, I would have forgotten them. Get up and write this down. And so today, when I came to the computer, I took the notes that I had made last night that Spirit kept telling me, say this, say this, say this, make a statement. So when I go into court today, I'm going in as a creditor, as a sovereign, a free man, and I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to request permission from the court to make a statement. I have it printed. I have a copy for the judge and a copy for the state's attorney, the prosecutor in the case. And I presented more paperwork, or I'm going to be presenting more paperwork to them today in regard to Tuesday's hearing. But let me read the statement that I've prepared for today so that you can hear it. It just says simply, it's all one page and it's big print. Statement. I am not here today to be argumentative, but to honor and show respect for this court and the participants in this case. I am not my corporatized name, and hereby rebut any presumption to the contrary. I am not a citizen of the United States Corporation or any of its subsidiaries as indicated, again, in the paperwork filed with this court today. I do not wish to contract with this court unless it is to protect my rights, my person, and my property from coercion and intrusion by the state. I do not wish an attorney. I have no intention of making a plea in this matter because I do not believe it is the proper venue or jurisdiction to do so. The law, quote, the right to travel is a part of the liberty of which the citizen cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment. That's a United States Supreme Court ruling. in Kent versus Dulles. And another one, the claim and exercise of a constitutional right cannot be converted into crime. Miller versus the United States. And it has a bunch of numbers after it. What they mean, I don't know, and I don't care. That's my entire statement. That's it, folks. That's it. Real short. What did that take me? A minute? Maybe? So they can fit that in to the arraignment. And it answers the questions that they're there to determine. Now, where it goes from there is up to them. Am I willing to say more? Absolutely I am. But not unless they allow it. And we'll see how it proceeds. But when what I realized last night as I was going to say meditating on this, but the truth of the matter is I was trying to fall asleep and Spirit kept talking to me. When you're asking questions, the ulterior motive in asking questions is to get the other person to submit as the debtor. The claim is that the person asking the questions is in charge. Well, a dialogue is asking questions, making statements, and an exchange of ideas between people. It's not about one-upmanship or engaging in the art of war or battling with another person. It's about dialogue. Due process of law is about dialogue. It's about an exchange of ideas. It's about recognizing status and proper jurisdiction. It's about recognizing rights. We each must recognize the rights of the other. I'm learning, which is why I didn't know this then, and why I realize, even though I did not like the idea of having to go before two judges on 2 different days, I realized the gift that was to me in retrospect. Because the first time gave me the opportunity to see how it worked, see how the game was played, so that I could be better prepared for round 2, for the second judge, the second hearing. And so I'm better prepared today. I know what to expect. I didn't really, truthfully, know what to expect on Tuesday, even though people had told me they railroad you through and everything. I really didn't know. I thought I was going to be able to engage them in conversation and get them to answer my questions. I was wrong. And I listened to my driver who drove me to the court and gave me the ride. I listened to him rearrange my concept and challenge my concept of what I was going to do. And so I was in a place of a cotton mouth, anxious, nervous. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, they say, are you making this under coercion? When you've got a bunch of people standing around with weapons in the courtroom, and it's a place of intimidation. I don't believe you can go into a courtroom unless you're habituated to the environment. I don't believe you can go in there and not feel a sense of overwhelming limitation. And I certainly felt that. And restrictions. I mean, you're just restricted. You feel like you're supposed to do it their way, and there's an energy in it. And so overcoming this idea that we are born in debt and becoming free is really, really significant and important. And the wake-up that's happening here in 2011 and 2012 is extremely important. Our ignorance is dissipating, and that can only produce more freedom for humanity. Thank you for listening this morning. Hold me up in your prayers and your thoughts. I do appreciate that. And I will report again next time I join you. Thank you. Namaste.